Conscious Leadership Podcast, the human side of leadership, where consciousness meets practical business leadership. The podcast dives into real challenges managers face, from team motivation to navigating change. Discover actionable insight, proven strategies, and inspiring stories to help you lead with clarity, authenticity, and impact. Whether you are an SME owner, a team leader, or simply passionate about conscious leadership, this podcast will equip you with the tools to build stronger teams, foster trust, and achieve sustainable success. Tune in, lead consciously, and make a difference. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Conscious Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Boris Nedved. In today's episode, I want to give you my opinion on two words that are used interchangeably in the business world, in posts and articles and so on. Yet for me, there are major differences between the two. One of them is management and the other one is leadership. Most organizations treat these two as interchangeable. Managers are expected to be leaders and leaders are expected to manage. But they are not the same. And confusing them is one of the biggest reasons why teams feel flat, strategies stall, and leaders burn out. So in this episode, I'll break down the difference between management and leadership and why both matter. So what is management really? Management is about systems, processes, and structure. It's about planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling. It's about keeping things coherent, making sure the trains run on time, ensuring the machine doesn't break down. Good management creates predictability. It establishes the order, organizes the resources, and drives efficiency. In many ways, management is about coherence in the system, keeping the moving parts aligned enough to function. So you can think budgets, schedules, KPIs, and reports. This is management. Management answers the question, how do we do what we already decided to do, efficiently and consistently? Strong management ensures stability. It provides the guardrails that allow teams to execute. It's what makes processes replicable and scalable. Without management, chaos would sneak into daily operations. Deadlines would be missed, resources would be wasted, and accountability gets lost. At its best, management provides clarity. People know what's expected, where to go with questions, and how success will be measured. It's the invisible infrastructure that supports the day-to-day functioning of any organization. But there's the limitation. Management works best in environments of stability. And stability is exactly what we no longer have. When the context changes rapidly, new technologies, shifting markets, evolving employee expectations, management alone cannot carry an organization forward. The structures that once provided the efficiency become rigid cages that limit the adaptation. That's why management must always be balanced by leadership. Because while management answers the how, leadership answers why and where next. Without that balance, management risks becoming a system of control that strangles the innovation rather than enabling it. So what is then leadership exactly? Leadership is for me something entirely different. Leadership isn't about holding the machine together. It's about asking, where are we going? Why does it matter? And how do we inspire people to want to go there? Leadership doesn't enforce order. It creates resonance. It's about vision, meaning, and direction. And in conscious leadership, it's about the presence and alignment with your own energetic design. A leader tunes into the field, senses what's emerging, and provides clarity when the future is uncertain. They don't just keep the machine running, they guide the evolution of the whole system around it. From a quantum perspective, leadership operates like resonance in physics. One frequency begins to influence another until the entire field vibrates in harmony. A conscious leader holds coherence in themselves so strongly that it ripples outward, aligning the people and systems around them. This isn't about charisma in the old sense. For me, it's about energetic alignment. Leadership is also relational. It thrives in connection, trust, and meaning. Whereas management provides predictability, leadership provides possibility. It takes the unknown and makes it not only tolerable, but inspiring. Leaders expand the fields of what feels possible, so that uncertainty becomes a space for creativity rather than fear. So management is like running a train system. It's about the schedules, the tracks, the safety protocols, the efficiency, the timing, and so on. Leadership is like deciding where the trains should go, setting the destination, inspiring people to get on board, and adapting when the landscape changes. Quantum physics teaches us that the observer collapses probability into reality. In the same way, leaders bring potential into form by directing attention, setting intention, and embodying clarity. They don't force outcomes. They attract alignment by being aligned themselves. True leadership is not top-down. It's not about command and control. It's about cultivating an environment where others can step into their fullest expression, where the collective energy becomes greater than the sum of its parts, the famous 1 + 1 = 3. Leaders ignite coherence across teams, making them more than a task performer. They become contributors to a shared resonance, to a shared purpose. In short, management preserves and leadership transforms. Management asks, how do we stay on track? And leadership asks, what track should we be on? And how do we walk it together? And in chaotic times as we are in right now, it is this transformative resonance that becomes the true edge of conscious leadership. And there's, from my perspective, a cost of confusing the two. I think that, here's where many organizations go wrong. They promote good managers and expect them to lead. Or they hire leaders and join them in the management tasks. What's the result? Managers who suffocate teams with control because they think leadership equals tighter systems. Or leaders who lose themselves in spreadsheets and dashboards, never getting to inspire, mentor, or create the direction for the business. When management and leadership blur, teams feel flat. The motivation disappears because there's no spark anymore. Where do we go? And cultures become transactional. Everyone does their job, but no one feels alive. Do you recognize something in that? Have you heard about it? The deeper cost is a loss of adaptability. In fast-changing environments, a management-heavy culture clings to the structure that was created, the reporting lines and the reporting and the controls. This delays decisive action and creates bottlenecks at exactly the moment agility is needed most. Conversely, a leadership-heavy culture without strong management discipline drifts into chaos. Decisions are made, but the execution falters and accountability dissolves. The confusion creates a vacuum where neither coherence nor resonance can thrive. This blurring also fuels burnout. Managers forced into leadership roles without the skill to inspire often feel inadequate and overextended. Natural leaders pulled into endless administrative control tasks feel drained and disconnected from their true gift of resonance. Both groups disengage, and the organization stagnates. Culturally, the damage is profound. Employees sense the tension between control and inspiration. but they receive neither. Instead, they experience mixed signals, strategic visions without execution, or tight control without meaning. Over time, this erodes trust, increases turnover, and flattens the very energetic organizations need to thrive. Ultimately, blurring management and leadership is like asking a symphony orchestra conductor to also tune every system, every instrument, and schedule every rehearsal. Important, yes, but it dilutes the magic of their role. Without clarity between the two, neither function is performed well, and the entire system underperforms, the entire orchestra underperforms. Through my conscious leadership lens of quantum leadership, I would describe it like this. Management creates coherence, it makes sure the system functions. And leadership creates the resonance. It aligns the energy, the purpose, and the direction. I tend you would agree with me that both are necessary. But the edge comes from knowing when to manage and when to lead. Think of coherence as the structural rhythm of an organization. The rules, the processes, and the measurements that keep everyone in sync. Without coherence, the system fragments and falls apart. Management ensures that the underlying beat is steady and predictable. Resonance, by contrast, is about meaning and vibrational alignment. It's the emotional and energetic connection that makes people feel engaged, inspired, and willing to bring the best selves to work. Now think of CEO speeches that you might have had in your companies. Were they inspiring? You can ask. Leadership creates resonance by attuning to the human field. The human field of energy within teams and organizations. And this is where, for me, human design offers a breakthrough lens. The design reveals whether you are a natural, gifted leader, whether you have natural gifts that lean toward management, bringing the structure, clarity, and repeatability, or you lean more towards leadership, the sensing, inspiring, and amplifying collective energy. Some individuals are wired to balance both, but many are not. And forcing people into roles that are misaligned with their design creates friction, frustration, wasted energy. When managers manage from alignment with their design, coherence feels supportive rather than controlling. When leaders lead from alignment, resonance spreads like a frequency that others can feel and trust. Together, coherence and resonance create a system that is both stable and alive. This is the essence of conscious leadership. Recognizing that management and leadership are not competing forces, but complementary dimensions. The future edge belongs to those who know when to steady the beat with coherence and when to elevate the song with resonance, and who understand their own design well enough to play the role they are here to play. Let me give you some practical examples. You might have a manager that notices that project deadlines are slipping, so they reorganize workflows, reallocate resources, and track progress daily. They restore coherence. Or a leader that notices that motivation is low, so they pause the meeting, acknowledge the energy in the room, and reconnect the team to the bigger purpose. They give direction, they create resonance. In a crisis, management keeps processes from collapsing. Leadership guides people through uncertainty. Management enforces compliance. Leadership inspires commitment, the commitment of the employees. Both matter, absolutely. But they serve different functions. At Toyota, for example, management discipline through lean processes and the Toyota production system has long ensured coherence, minimizing waste, standardizing workflows, ensuring reliability. But the real transformation came from leaders who inspired a culture of continuous improvement. Kaizen, you might have heard the word. Where every worker felt empowered to speak up and suggest changes. Coherence kept the system efficient. Resonance made the culture adaptive. At Microsoft, Satya Nadella inherited a company known for strong management systems, but plagued with internal silos and I know it all culture. By emphasizing empathy, growth mindset, open collaboration, Satya Nadella introduced resonance into the system. The result wasn't less management. It was management supported by leadership that inspired employees to contribute differently, fueling innovation and the long-term growth. And we see it in the share price of Microsoft. These cases show that coherence without resonance creates a rigidity, while resonance without coherence creates drift. The organizations that thrive are those that honor both and distinguish both. We live in a chaotic, unpredictable world and times. Complexity is the new normal. And in chaos and complexity and changes, management alone is never enough. You can't spreadsheet your way out of uncertainty. That's why leadership, real, conscious, resonant leadership, is the competitive edge. Managers may keep the system from falling apart. Leaders sense the direction of change and turn the chaos into opportunity. But here's the nuance. Leaders who can integrate both, holding coherence while creating resonance, these will be the unstoppable. And for me, the future belongs to those who can manage complexity without getting lost in it, and who can lead transformation without neglecting the discipline of execution. A leader who inspires without structure leaves people motivated but lost. A manager who executes without inspiration creates efficiency without any soul. But a leader who integrates both sets the stage for sustainable success. We can already see this integration shaping the organization of tomorrow. Tech firms that balance agile processes, the management part, with visionary storytelling, the leadership part. They scale rapidly while retaining their culture. Social enterprises that combine strict financial discipline with a mission. Resonance that attracts both investors and talent. Even governments and NGOs are realizing that survival in turbulent times requires leaders who know when to enforce coherence and when to generate resonance. In human design terms, this integration means honoring your natural orientation, manager, leader, hybrid, and surrounding yourself with the complementary designs, complementary people, where the 1+1 creates the 3. Conscious leaders don't try to do it all. They create teams where coherence and resonance flow together. This is why the future will not reward the best managers or the most charismatic leaders in isolation. It will reward those who understand the interplay between the two. Leaders who can embody resonance, anchor coherence, and move with agility in a world that refuses to stand still. So here's my takeaway. Management and leadership are not the same. Management is about coherence, leadership about resonance. And the real power lies in knowing the difference, integrating the two, and honoring your own design. So this was episode 37 of the Conscious Leadership Podcast. Management versus leadership. Why the difference matters now more than ever. If you're serious about leading in today's chaotic world, start with yourself. Discover how your unique human design equips you to manage, to lead, or to integrate both. Because when you lead from design, you don't just manage chaos. You transform it into coherence and resonance because it comes out of you. It's inside you. Visit my website humaninthecenter.com to access your free introductory chart and begin uncovering your leadership blueprint. Manage with clarity, lead with resonance, and most importantly, lead as yourself. Because the future doesn't need more generic leaders, managers. It needs conscious leaders who embody their design and give others permission to do the same. So manage with clarity, lead with resonance, and never confuse the two. Until the next time, stay intentional, stay conscious, and keep leading with purpose from the inside out. Thank you for listening to the Conscious Leadership Podcast. Look forward to the next episode to come and stay intentional, stay conscious, and keep leading with purpose. Until the next time.